Right, so this is a breakdown job that's come in today. So this is a header off a New Holland combine, and they're having issues with this, where this gearbox is mounted on. So this is like the knife drive gearbox that drives the knife backwards and forwards. See there's these serrated blades all the way along that chop the straw and then feed it into the header. Yeah, so this gearbox goes backwards and forwards pretty fast, so there's a lot of vibrations, and yeah, it's just metal fatigued everything, and it looks like they've had a good go themselves at trying to repair it. So there are all sorts of repairs everywhere by the look of it. She's going to make my job a lot more difficult. Everywhere you look it's had bits welded on. Then on the inside it's had an extra plate welded in at some point, and then another bit of plate bolted in. So yeah, I need to try and repair this. I'll do something with it to make it usable again. Wobble that, there's a bit in slack in there which won't help because it'll be vibrating everything more than what it should be. Anyway, yeah, first job I think we'll take that gearbox out, and then we can see what's sort of left. You can see there's big chunks broken out. There's like a mount missing out of there, and then there's another chunk missing out of here. Yeah, we'll take that out, we can sort of see what's what. I've got that gearbox out. That was a bit fiddly trying to get that through the gap. But anyway, it's out now. So yeah, I don't really know where to start with all this lot because, well, yeah, you can see the state of it. Everywhere I look, it's cracked or bits broken out. So, yeah, we'll start at the front. Under there's supposed to be a weld, I don't know if you can see, but that's cracked. All of these three here have cracked off. That's cracked down there. Where that joins onto there, that's cracked off. That hasn't been welded under there. It's only been welded at the back, and that's all broken out. That's broken out, and then they've had a go at welding that up. Same under there, they've tried welding that up and burnt through. These have all been cracked and re-welded back on. That bracket there has been cracked. This bit all underneath here. And then when you look on the other side, where the extra plate on, it's ripped that out of there. Them spaces, they're cracked again around there. So there isn't anything really left. That's cracked there as well. There isn't really anything left for me to build off again. the pry bar in, you can see it just flexes everywhere. So this bit won't be too bad. I'll have to replace all this bit. I'll have to chop this out. It's just knowing what to do with this side, because it's like 3 layers deep in some places. I don't want to really chop this lot out because that's like the bracket for the ram that lifts the reel up and down, and the tensioner, so I don't really want to alter that lot too much. So I'm thinking maybe chop down there, chop down here, and then chop it off there, get rid of this bit because this bit's like a pressed section, repress a new bit to go in there, do away with these spacers, and whatever thickness them spacers are, put in a bit of plate the same thickness rather than just them, so there's, you know, like a full plate in there. And chop this bit out and remake a new bit there. But then again, it's cracked all the way down here, all the way down to there, so it's, yeah, not in a very good state at all. And then on this side of the bracket, it's also cracked all the way down there as well. So another thing I've noticed while I'm just having to think of what to do here is look how worn this chain is. It doesn't fit on the sprocket properly anymore. Yeah, she's definitely ready for a new chain. Look at that. Right, so I think I'm just going to have to get the plasma out and just start cutting bits off, because standing here looking at it is not getting me very far. It's just, yeah, I don't know really where to start or where to stop. So I've got that bit cut out. It doesn't look as bad now I've got that bit cut out. There's still plenty more that needs cutting off yet. So I want to try and keep this bit because I can use that as my reference of how high the gearbox is. When you're looking there. you can see that weld under there is cracked out. So there's basically been no strength left whatsoever. And all of them are broken out as well. And that's broken across there. So yeah, I'll try and get rid of this bit now. And then I'm going to have to cut some more out across here where it's cracked down that side. Right, so that's all cracked under there as well, and around there. It's like never ending. I can't really get to that under there because of this, so I think I'm going to have to unbolt this and move it out the way. It'd be alright without this, just for doing what I'm doing. When it's on the combine, it's only supported by the middle anyway, so yeah, I just won't be able to get under there with it where it is. And all that's been welded up as well, so I'll have to sort of weld that. I can weld that up from this side, I'll just have to clean all that out. Right, so with this bit, I've just been having another look at it, and it is, because it is quite badly cracked, I'm going to chop that bit out, I think. But to do that, I think I'm going to have to take this plate out, because this plate sort of, yeah, comes up to about there. So if I take that out, I can see what's underneath it, and then that's all cracked down there as well. So if I chop that out, then I can replace all that with a new bit of steel, sort of down to here somewhere. Yeah, replace all that bit, and then keep this bit, but then weld that to the new bit. So yeah, I'll take that out, plate out. There's some screws down the back of it, and then there's some bolts. What is there? 2 there, and then there's a few more down it. It's not all one plate, it's like in a section up to there somewhere, I think. So hopefully that should come out nice and easy. There's always one bolt that's awkward, so that one's just spinning when I try and undo it. They're like coach bolts with a square on them. I haven't got my welder out here at the moment. I could just tack it down, but I think I'll just grind the top off it. I can't really get underneath to get in there to chop the nut off. So yeah, I think I'll just, if I can get in there with the grinder, I'll just grind it down and then knock it through. I've not gained a huge amount by by taking that plate out, but you can see there where it's cracked and been welded up from the other side. So yeah, I think I'll still try and, well, I might as well take all that bit out if I can, down there somehow, and then through on the other side. Looks like underneath there's a bit of box section in there. Really, I could still do with moving this or taking it out. It's just going to be difficult working in there. So it just keeps getting worse. That's cracked in there as well, where this bit is welding on to, I think it's that bit of box section that's in there. That bit's cracked as well. Bottom of this bit. See, that crack goes through there behind all that lot as well, so yeah, I'm going to have to chop this lot out. I can see me end up having to chop all this lot, and I don't want to. I wanted that as a reference to know where the bottom of the gearbox goes. I did take some measurements off where the old holes were as well, off here and off the sides, so I do sort of know where it needs to go back on, providing that bit is there. I just sliced down there and then all of that lot just dropped out, so none of that lot was doing anything. I think that bit I'll blast that away with a plasma. Be easiest than trying to chop it out. So I've got gouge through there. It's like that must be pressed over the top of there, and there's a box section in the middle, and I got that bit gouged out, but then now the box section's cracked as well. So what I've decided to do now is I'm going to take a few measurements off here where this is reference point to there, and then I'm going to chop this off, chop that out, replace anything that's cracked in there with new. I don't know how far to go down here because some of that is cracked as well. That's like double skinned. Under there's 2 bits of plate welded together and then welded through there. Yeah, I just want to get rid of all the fatigued metal, but there's just more and more of it. So yeah, I'll do what I was going to do to start with, well, earlier, and move that, because I keep doing bits and not moving it, and it's, yeah, I need that out of the way, so I'll move that now. The under here, you can see that box section's cracked there, and that's all cracked around there as well. I don't know, let's chop that box section out and put a new bit in, but then I don't know how it's welded round this end. Oh well, it's welded in round all that lot. Right, so I've got that bit cut out of there now. I can see this box section, whether it's been an add-on afterwards, whether someone's welded it in, because it doesn't go all the way to the end. So I can just nick that out of there, take that bit of box section out, because you can see how cracked it is, and then just replace that with a new bit, and it gets rid of all that fatigue. Maybe chop a bit more of this out as well. I don't want to go too near these slotted holes because they'll be a bit of a nightmare to get back in the right place if I chop them out. Yeah, I'll either gouge them out or slice through them with grinder. A few welds under there. So the customer's just been up because he was passing, and he's brought a new one of these to go on knife drive because I said that one was a little bit worn, which it is. So he must have noticed it was worn anyway because he's got a new one. And then while he was here, we took the chains off, so he's getting a new chain for there for the that drives the auger, and then the one for the reel was fairly worn as well. So we've taken that one off. So he's putting 2 new chains on it. Then when I get this sorted, should be a good one again. That belt doesn't look great either. That belt's got a twist on it. Yeah, we're halfway getting that box section out. Right, so I've got that bit of box section cut out. I think that's been an add-on afterwards. Anyway, I found some more cracks in there, so I've diagrammed them out, and hopefully that is no more cracks now. I've also read that out across there, so I'll weld across there now, weld up there, probably weld across that bottom bit if it will. That probably won't weld that great because it's sort of had rust underneath it. Yeah, I'll get them welded up, and then we'll put another bit of box section back in and then start making bits of plate to fill the hole back in again. So I've got that bit of box section welded in. I haven't butted it up again at the end of there because I could get in there and weld down sort of to that side, and if it was sat on top of there it wouldn't sort of be flush with the bottom. So I've done like that, and then I've also cut this plate out. So I'll weld that plate in there like that. I'll put them holes in it so I can weld them holes round onto the box section. And then that's sort of that bit back to how it should be. Right, so I got that bit welded round, that welded in nice, did that. And then I've just tacked these old bits back in. Obviously I'm not going to weld this back in again, I've just tacked it in to get an idea of how it all fit together. So I can use that as a template, and take that out, use that as a template, draw around it, or I'll probably just draw around it and cut it out by hand. And then, where's the other bit? Yeah, I've just sort of been working out how it all went together. It's all pretty simple, I think. So yeah, I'll take that bit back out again. I think I'll cut that with 6mm rather than it's been like 3mm and then doubled up. But if I just do it out with 6mm, then it should take any flex out of it. The bit of extra weight from the few kilos it's going to gain from putting thicker plate in is not really going to make any difference. And then, yeah, rather than spacers like that, I'll just put in a plate the same thickness as the spacer. I think I said earlier I'd do that. So yeah, take that bit out, I'll draw around that, cut a bit out to that, and then tack that in. Right, so we're nearly in there with that bit. A few bits want trimming off. I think there's a bit there that wants trimming, and a bit off the bottom of there maybe. It's just going to be difficult getting in there to clean that bit up. And it's going to be difficult welding up at the other side because the reel's down. But yeah, overall I don't think that fits bad. There's a bit trimming off the bottom there. Still need to decide what to do with this bit. I got a little bit too much out of that bit, but I can fill that in with weld. It's just I don't want to weld to the floor because they're like replaceable panels, so I don't want to be welding to that. I think the holes for the gearbox I'll drill afterwards. I'll get the base plate for the gearbox sat in, and then I'll probably make a jig of some kind off the gearbox to mark where the holes need to be, and I'll just drill them through by hand. Right, so I got that bit tacked in sort of the best I can. I've sort of made it flush out the back side so that like the extra thickness of the steel is on this side, because I might plate over it on the other side as well. So yeah, we'll have a go at welding this in now. It's not going to be easy, the gap's a bit too big really, but we should be able to fill it in. Just, yeah, because the base metal is so thin, it's only like, I don't know whether it's 2mm or 3mm, I think it's maybe 2mm. Anyway, yeah, I'll weld that in now, and then I'll make the other bits. Right, so I've got that bit welded round. Now, it's not the tidiest job by any means, but it is difficult. I don't care how good a welder you are, it's difficult welding 2mm to 6mm when there's a 5mm, when there's like a 5mm gap around it. But anyway, I'm happy that that's strong because it's like 100% penetration. I'll tidy it up a bit when I've got done, but yeah, some of it I welded vertical up, some of it I welded vertical down, depends how well it was going. Some of that wants a bit more over the top of it, I'll tidy up a bit. And then down there, and I've plug welded that onto that bit behind it as well. There, vertical up, welds onto there, and then in there, around there. Side, well, I've ground that off already, but I didn't put a weld on this side because so that had burnt through 100% through there, so there's no point putting another weld on it. I've just ground it off to tidy it up a bit. And then some of that other I've welded round as well, and then welded up there. Some of that, I was welding vertical up at the bottom, but then it kept burning through this bit here, so then I went to vertical down on the rest of it. So that's nice and made that side nice and strong again. Now we just need to replicate all this lot. So yeah, that that bit was on there like that, and then it's hard doing it with one hand, but then it had that bit on there as well, like that. Up again that bit that I just had in there, and then I've tacked this bit back together, and that bit goes on there like that. So that's 8mm. I have some 8mm, so I can press a new one of them, plasma it out and press it. And then these bits are just 5 and 6mm. Oh, and that bit as well, that bit went like that with a notch. So yeah, just need to copy all that now. You just want to press in a little bit more. I'm just guessing for this press. I'm not working it out. It's not too bad. Yeah, a little bit more on both presses, I think. So I'll press that a little bit more now. That should do that. I can weld across there and across the back of that. Just a knobbly bit, a bit of weld there that's stopping me putting it where I wanted to put it. And that should do that. I just thought I'd sit the gearbox back in to check, and it's just too close in there, so I will have to press this bit a little bit more. I'll move that further back and get a bit more clearance, because I think it is just touching in there, and I don't quite line up the bolt holes. Gearbox needs to be back a little bit more. So we've pressed that again and altered it a bit, and now I've got clearance in the back of there, so that should be enough. Just noticed there that doesn't line up with that very well. I did notice when I undid it before, when I took it out before I started chopping bits up, there was pressure on that, which she said there shouldn't be, because the knife sections have to go between them fingers, between that slot there. And if that's pulling up on that, there's a bit of flex in it, but yeah, so I'll lower this end down a little bit and get that a bit closer. I know it's a belt as well, they don't have to run banging line, but when you look at that pulley, that back pulley there, see I'm sort of about in line with it now. When you look down to this pulley, you see it's well out of line. But it must have been like that from new, because there's nothing really, you can't get the gearbox physically any more that way, and there's nothing to line that pulley up, there's no adjustment on that pulley from the back. That's sort of in line there. It's hard to tell from this angle, but anyway, it's on a belt, so it's not like a chain. Belts can have a bit of misalignment and still run fine. What I'll do now is I'll make this plate that I'm going to put in the back of here 15mm like spacer, rather than just little like big washers like it had last time. I'm going to make a full plate. So yeah, I'll take the gearbox off, and then I'll measure the holes off the gearbox and use that as like the pattern. Right, so I got that cut out, but yeah, I didn't take into consideration the offset for them holes and where that is, so I suppose I could trim a bit off the side of that one. But oh, I think I also got the holes, I measured the hole centers wrong as well. I measured them as 204, and I written them down in the in on shape as 214 for some reason, so hole centers are wrong. That doesn't line up properly with there, and because it's going to shift that way a little bit, I can make this bit a little bit longer to cover over where the joint is there. So yeah, I have to cut a new one out. Right, we've got the hole centers right now, so that fits on there. I'll take that off and try it in the header, see what that's like, and then we'll cut the base plate out. Right, so this bottom plate I've decided to do a little bit different. So rather than press it, I'm going to do it in two halves, so then I can get in and weld up underneath here. If I pressed it, I won't be able to get in to weld underneath it. So I've got that bit bolted onto the gearbox. I've got this plate bolted onto the gearbox. So what I'm going to do now is tack these two together. Then I can sit this plate in, and then I can drill my holes back through this plate, through the other side plate, and then take this bit out again, weld this bit in, put that back on, and weld that round. And then I've only got this front bit to make to come down here. There'll be a weld across the front, and then that inside bracing to do as well. I just think that's a better way of doing it rather than pressing it and then not being able to get in to weld properly where it broke out from last time. Right, I've got that bottom plate tacked in. I've sort of positioned the gearbox because it's on like an arc, it comes backwards. Like when it's to one extreme, it's sort of that way more than it is in the middle because it's like going around on an arc. So there's that much like free play in the knife. So I've tried to position the gearbox so it doesn't bind up like it was sort of binding up the first time I tacked it on. So yeah, now it's within the free play of the knife when it's at the lowest and highest of its arc. So yeah, take this gearbox off now, and then I can mark through them holes where they need to be and then drill them through, and then get this plate made to go in here. There's a brace to go in at that end. It's quite a time consuming job. Right, so I think we're ready to weld that in now. It's raining today, this morning, which is not ideal. But yeah, we're using a little jassic to weld it up. I had to take that back out again. I thought I should have thought first I should have cleaned it up before I used it to mark the holes. But anyway, I took it out, cleaned it out, and then put it back in. I've got the holes drilled, and I've got the plate cut for the end of there somewhere. I don't know where it is. But before I put that in, I'm going to put another brace in there. I'm not going to bother with that plate like it had in before, because it's thicker plate, it's 6mm rather than 2mm with a 3mm, like doubling it up like this bit. So yeah, I'll start welding it in now. Right, so I've got most of that welded round now. So I welded all the way around that circle, welded around there. The mixture of like vertical up welding sort of around there and around the back of here. It's just everywhere is difficult to get to weld it. I've V'd that out before I welded that on, so there's nice welding there. Yeah, everywhere's sort of welded round now. So there was a gusset in here that I haven't put back in yet, but I think I might make that gusset come back to here. Just a strip on its edge down there. I'll have to chop this bit out, I think, because them spot welds have broken out. I think they would have been spot welds originally, like what that one is there. They've either missed them or they've broken out. I think they've broken out. And like I said, that's cracked there, so I think I'll have to chop that bit out, replace that. And also, this bit here is cracked through there and there, so I'll have to gouge that out and weld that back up again. I noticed where this bracket comes up onto the top, that's cracked, so I'll have to weld that up. And I see there's also a crack there, so I'll have to sort that out as well. And there's a bracket that's broken out. Originally it's had something from there to underneath there, I think. It's broken out, so I'll have to weld something back in there as well. Right, so I think that is all the welding finished then. So I have gouged all that out, welded that back up again. That should be stronger now anyway because it's 6mm rather than the thin bit it was on before, so that shouldn't flex as much. Put that bit in, that looks better, it's covered up that not so nice looking weld underneath there. Put the strength back in, sort of from this piece across there back onto there. There were 10mm, I've done them out of 10mm where the old one was 8mm, so that's thicker. Bracing there, and yeah, I put this extra bit in. Originally it just had a little corner brace in there, but I've put that back to there, so that should sort of take any twist out on the side there. I chopped that bit out and welded another bit in there. That won't really add much strength, I don't think. I welded this plate across there, then put that in, then welded that on. So just more for cosmetics. Welded that in there. Welded that crack up on the top of that. So yeah, that's everything welded up. Some of these I've been over again, just down just to make them look a bit nicer. So yeah, that should be a lump stronger, and everywhere is welded now. Like everywhere there can be weld is weld. A lot of the reason why it started cracking originally is the welds broke out and there wasn't enough of them. So now, yeah, there's a lot more weld, thicker plate and a thicker base plate. And then on that plate on the back of the gearbox, there shouldn't be any more flex on that like there was on these, because there were just little spaces. They were flexing and cracking. And now it's one big plate, that shouldn't flex at all. So yeah, I'll give it a spray with red oxide now. The customer says he has some yellow, so he's going to spray it yellow. He just said if I could spray it with red oxide. It's been to get some new chains, so there's new chains to put on it. So yeah, I'll get it sprayed, put the gearbox back in. There's that plate to go back in on the inside, and then we'll put some new chains on it. And then it's finished. Right, so we had to use grey because we ran out of red oxide. So that's all painted now. Not the tidiest of jobs, I would have liked it to look a bit tidier, but it's pretty hard. I've found this, it's been the most difficult job I've done for a while. Just because you're welding in awkward positions. You're welding to metal that's really thin. Yeah, I don't know, I've just found it difficult. So I'm not happy, or I'm not that happy with how tidy it looks, but I'm happy with how strong it is. It's yeah, it should be very strong. Right, so we're all back together now. 2 new chains on, belts back on. Gearbox was a bit awkward. I had to take the gearbox back out again and drill them holes out a little bit bigger on the bottom because I couldn't, there was one bolt I couldn't get in. So, and then I had to grind a bit off there because the bolt was touching on that as it was going backwards and forwards. So it's been hard work. It's sort of been fighting me every step of the way. Anyway, that's all that done in there. So last job, there's this plate to go back in, and there's a plate to go in there, like a curved plate. Right, so that is that finished. Everything is back together. So there are all the old bits I chopped out. It looks like he's had quite a lot of repairs. It is 20 years old, as this header. It says on this side here. It's for a CR980, and it's a year 2004, so it's 20 years old. So yeah, I'm glad that's done. That's been one of the trickiest jobs I've done for a while, I think. I don't really know why, because it's only simple stuff, but I don't know, it's just taken a lot of doing.